Hello everybody, how's it going? Ben Gothard here with another Project Egg interview, and today we are talking to Jeff Banek from Texas. How you doing today, Jeff?
Hey Ben, it's great to talk to you, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, thank you so much for making the time to do this. So, Jeff, I want to jump right into this interview, and I want to ask you, what is your story?
Man, it's a long story. But as far as just, we'll keep it to an entrepreneurship so that I don't take up the whole time that we have together to tell my whole story. As far as my entrepreneurial journey, roughly it started about 2010 when I first tried to shift out of, I was doing personal training, I was running gyms, I was a fitness director for gyms and things like that. I was trying to get out of that and do something above it. So one of my clients and I, we wound up spending $100,000 trying to get a software program up and running. And this is before like the Jillian Michaels work websites that you have now and all the cool ones you have now. This is really, for back then, it was like cutting edge. It would like design your meal plans. It would do your workouts. It would change everything up. But the problem is we hadn't found ClickFunnels or anything like that yet. And we were paying these guys to design this website for us, or this site, and literally to move a headline or change a color, it'd be $500, $1,000, $2,000, and before you know it, we'd spent $100,000, had no money left to actually launch it when we finally got it done. So literally, this is like huge, major failure that I first ran into when I'm starting my journey into entrepreneurship. I was trying to move out of fitness, and we were launching this, and just fell flat on my face. So that was one of the first endeavors I ever had. But for that really sparked a fire in me to learn more about like the marketing aspect, because like if I had known these things that I know now, I would have, who knows, I could have maybe made a 2 Comma Club back then and not just recently, you know. So but yeah, so it sparked this desire to want to learn more, and I'd sort of got into that when I was into fitness. But I would learn more about like digital marketing. I went to, I don't know if you know Ryan Dice at all, but like his stuff with digital marketer, I went in and I went through all of his certifications, learned everything I could, was just learning everything I could about funnels. And that was like a slow journey. It literally was between 2010 when I did the last bit with fitness to now. And that journey's been really rough, man. I mean, it's like embarrassing to say, but like up to just literally like 6 months ago, my rise has been really meteoric as far as this growth. But just 6 months ago, to pay rent, we had to pawn my wife's ring, man. It's embarrassing. It's like no joke. I know it's hard. It's crazy to hear that now I'm making 2 Comma. Well, when I made the original 2 Comma funnel, is one of the first ones I ever did. So the amount I was charging was so minimal. Literally, I was having trouble paying bills, and just 6 months ago, we were pawned my wife's ring so we could pay rent. And but then just since then, the last 5 months, it's been incredible. Like we launched our digital marketing agency, doing funnels, Facebook ads, and messenger bots. Our first month that we launched, we did 12,000 in sales, or 11,000 in sales. The second month, 17,000, 25, and in the last 30 days, we're close to $45,000 in sales in 30 days now. So needless to say, we've been able to get my wife's ring out of pawn, which is an incredible thing, you know, and just something that's really sobering now, because literally we were paycheck to paycheck, man. We had trouble making ends meet. Because the notoriety hadn't kicked in to where people were like, oh, this guy really knows his stuff. I was still growing through this entrepreneurial journey of how to be a digital marketer, how to make the best funnels, how to market Facebook ads, all the things we do now. And I hadn't had any recognition, so I wasn't able to charge for it. And, you know, when you're starting out in anything, especially as an entrepreneur, those first growing pains are really, really hard. And it was hard for us. I mean, this is really embarrassing. I mean, like we at one point like went to like I guess they were like a food thing. It wasn't food stamps, but we went to where you could go and they would donate like food, because we didn't have enough money to even be able to afford to buy regular groceries all the time. I know this is crazy, but it's true. And now I have more money in my bank account than I know what to do with. It's really, really been an incredible journey, but been hard. So I want people listening to this. This is one of the things I really wanted to resonate with people, that like no matter where Ben takes this story, don't give up on your own journey. because if I'd quit anywhere along the way, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I've got this 2 Comma Club award that I just received. I set a world record with ClickFunnels where they actually flew us out to this viral launch party with Gary Vaynerchuk, and we set the world record for the largest ever human bubble soccer game. It was 100 versus, it was 50 on 50. They rented out Boise Stadium with the Smurf turf with a green Astro or blue Astro turf. And we actually played this giant human soccer game against bubble soccer game each other. So I went literally from like nobody, just this regular dude that was just in ClickFunnels group trying to give as much value as possible. And this is how that story happened. I'll let Ben talk in a minute here, but just real quick, the way that this actually happened is when I found out about Russell Brunson and ClickFunnels, I decided that I was going to go all in. And for those that can see this, you'll see that I actually have a ClickFunnels funnel hacker tattoo that I got to myself. After I found ClickFunnels, I got this tattoo, and I promised myself in April last year, mind you, April last year, so just over a year ago, I got this as a promise that I was going to do something great in ClickFunnels. So I dove into the group. There's 38,000 or 32,000 when I first joined the group, and I just started giving tons of value because I've been studying so much of all this Russell Brunson content, and I would help people with their funnels. I'd give advice. I just gave tons and tons and tons of value. And by the time the group got up to 78,000, they gave an award of the top highest contributors or the top 10 contributors to the group. And I was actually at 78,000 people. I was the second highest contributor in the group. So they gave me this like award or nomination. Literally 2 days later, Kevin David puts a post in the ClickFunnels group, hey, I need help with my funnels. So I'm like, well, I know a lot about funnels. I'll help you. He's like, well, what's your resume? I'm like, well, I just got this award. He's like, let's do it. So we start and we start building out his funnels. We get everything together. And it was amazing because he literally was able to shoot his automated webinar, his automated sequence in one shot. Like literally, he was. You never have that happen. But we started doing all his funnels. We launched. And then 57 days later, we did $1.2 million through his funnel. And now a year later, we're right about $3 million that we'll be doing in sales. So, and he's done a Shopify course. We've done an Amazon course now, which was the main primary product. And for anyone listening that wants, he's actually about to launch a Facebook ads course. So check out Kevin David. He's a super awesome guy and has done a great job. He's helped literally hundreds of people scale their Amazon FBA businesses. It's amazing. Like I was blessed enough, he asked me to go out to Puerto Vallarta recently, put on a mastermind out there for 100 people and have me speak about ClickFunnels and messenger bots to this group. And just to have people like his students come up to me and tell me how much he'd affected their life and what a change he'd made. And it was really crazy because it's like full circle. Like if I hadn't helped him with this funnels, maybe who knows what would have happened. And now, so it's been a crazy journey, as you can see, and I'm sorry if I get too excited about it, but it's just such a passion that I have to be able to help people with their businesses. But I've gone like literally from nothing to where I was just guy down in the trenches trying to like get it going and find my groove to now I'm getting awards left and right, and just living the dream, man. So I just want everyone to know, and this is where I started that whole thing was, don't quit, because if you quit, you'll never be able to realize what you could potentially be. I mean, think of all the great people out there. I'm not saying I'm great by any means. Oh no, I mean, but there's so many great people that have accomplished so many great things that if they quit when it got hard, they would never reach it. So I'm telling you, it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. And if it was, would you really want it when you finally get it? I mean, I look about my journey and I'm like, if it was easy, I wouldn't appreciate it as much as I do now. So anyway, Ben, that's pretty much my story, man. I appreciate you not let me share that with everyone.
Absolutely. And Jeff, I do want to thank you for being so open and honest about it, because like you said, it gets really hard, and I know as entrepreneurs, the last thing that we need is to give up, and the thing that we need the most is to hear inspirational stories from other people who have gone there and done it and come from, like you said, come from nothing and really made it. Like you were saying that at one point you were getting help with the food, and to go from that to like changing other people's lives, Like, that is incredible. That is incredible. And I think that is the epitome of entrepreneurship and the epitome of the beauty of entrepreneurship and what it can do. But you know what? I really do want to hear more of your story. I want to hear more about how you actually got into the position that you did. So can you start from your childhood and really talk about how you got to where you are now, and really give us a full chronology of that?
Well, sure, man. Yeah. So the story of who was Jeff. So, okay. Well, I was born on Vandenberg Air Force Base in Lompoc, California, which is in Southern California. My dad was in the Army at the time, and that probably is one of the reasons why when fast forward to high school, well, we don't have to go through all the younger years, but fast forward to high school, I was very much motivated and want to be in the military. Matter of fact, June 6th, I graduated high school, and June 9th, I was in boot camp already. So it was definitely something I wanted to do. I decided for my job, I wanted to be a medic because I wanted to be able to, I guess at even that young of an age, just provide service and help people, you know. But I also loved my country, and I wanted to be able to fight for it as well. So I actually wanted to be going to what we call, to be a medic, you have to be in the Navy. But what we did is we were actually with what was called the green side, which were the Marines. So I did everything the Marines did. I carried the M16. I humped all the packs. I did that. But I also had to carry my IVs and all my medical supplies and all that type of stuff, because if anybody got hurt, Doc was the guy that ran up there, you know, patched them up and did all that type of stuff. So I did 4 years in the military after I graduated high school. Had a life-changing experiences while I was in the military. I mean, I could literally spend 2 hours, 3 hours telling you stories about while I was in the military, but we won't dive into that too much, but because it would really suck up a lot of time. But yes, decided that while I was in the military that I didn't, it wasn't the job for me. You know, I enjoyed it. I loved serving my country. I loved being a medic, but decided it wasn't the job that I wanted to do. So I got out of the military, and a buddy of mine had a gym. He was the general manager for 24-Hour Fitness. Now, mind you, this was I'm old, a long time ago, back in 92 to 94 was when I was in the military, or 96, sorry, 92 to 96, so 4 years. I was in the military, and in 96 I got out, and I'd been working out a bunch in the military. We were doing training all the time, you know, push-ups, all that kind of cool stuff. So back then you didn't need to be certified to be a trainer. So the guy running the gym asked me if I wanted to be a personal trainer. So I was like, sure, no problem. So this was my first introduction as a personal trainer. Now, me being me, I'm always the type, as you sort of saw with the whole ClickFunnels thing, is when I decide to do something, I jump all in. So I got all the top certifications like ISSA, ACE, you know, NSAM, which if anyone listening to this is a personal trainer, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But these are some of the top certifications that are out there. And became like really top of the class really quick. I became #1 in sales. I had a guy that actually back in the day in 2000, which I can't believe it's 18 years ago now, there was this thing called Body for Life contest. There's a book behind it. It was a whole workout regime. And they had a contest, and I had a client of mine that out of 77,000 people, he got 5th. Out of 77,000 people. We didn't win, unfortunately. And the reason why we didn't win is because he wouldn't train legs. Like, he owned his own plastic recycling company, and his name is Art. And every time we'd have a legs day or we were supposed to train legs, he wouldn't show up. He's like, oh, I got a meeting, or oh, I got to take the kids to this, whatever, because he hated training legs. So imagine this guy that, no joke, in 12 weeks, we had him lose 36 pounds of fat, put on 10 pounds of muscle, and you look at this guy, he was shredded. He had the six-pack, the lats, the arms, everything, and as you're scaling down and you get to his legs, and then all of a sudden you see these really well-defined but not proportional legs to his body, you know? So that's the reason why I told him, I'm like, Art, if we don't win this, it's because you wouldn't do leg day, because like in 12 weeks we did legs probably like 2 or 3 times. So anyway, so that was one of my accolades while I was doing training, and I started moving up as a personal trainer and eventually became like a the fitness director, where I was the head of all the trainers, and then I actually took over running the gyms. And then I had some buddies. Well, that's we won't get to that. So we'll get to that in a second. So I was running gyms up in San Diego. This is how you're gonna laugh when you hear all these stories. I'm about to tell you how crazy my life has been. So I'm living in San Diego up in Vista, running the LA Fitness there. Now this is when you probably don't remember this, but there was this guy named Chris Moneymaker. If you ever follow poker, he was like the real big boom in the start of the poker, because this no-name guy, Chris Moneymaker, winds up winning the World Series, and now everybody and their mother thinks that they can win the World Series too. So I think I can win the World Series, so I start playing cash poker. So during my lunch break as a general manager, usually in the middle of the day, gyms are very, very slow. No one works out in the middle of the day. It's early morning or after they get off work. So I'd have a break of anywhere from 3 to 4 hours, from like 10 o'clock in the morning to like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And there happened to be right up the street this casino that was called Ocean's 11. So on my lunch breaks, I started going up and playing poker for 1-2 no limit for like $500 buy-in max. You know, not nothing too crazy. But very quickly, I started winning and doing very well. And next thing you know, I'm literally making more money at lunch than I am at my job. So at this point, I do what any good poker player does and decides to move to Las Vegas. So, and that's how I wound up, which I've been here over 10 years now, how I actually wound up getting to Vegas is I quit my job as a general manager, come to Vegas. For roughly about 3 years, I played poker for a living and did pretty decent. I made about $80,000 to $120,000 a year playing poker. So, I mean, pretty decent. Not, you know, I'm not like Daniel Negreanu or Phil Ivey or any of these, Phil Hellmuth or any of these big guys, but definitely did all right. But it came to a time as I'm playing poker that the problem with playing poker for a living is your bankroll, or the money that you play with, is actually the money that you use to run your life as well. So rent's due, it comes out of this. You know, you got bills, it comes out of this. So I had a bad run where things weren't that well, and the next thing you know, I look at my bank account and it's literally down to like $10,000. And I had some bills to do. I had rent, I had that type of thing. And after I pay all these, next thing you know, I'm down to like $5,000. And at that point, I decided, I'm like, I can be a real gambler and I can like risk it all, or I can go get a job. And this is unexciting. I'm sorry, I didn't risk it all. I decided to go get a job. I lucked out and I met these two guys that owned, at this point, the gym Anytime Fitness. I don't know if you ever remember or seen these anywhere. They had a chain here in Vegas of like 11 different gyms. So what they did is they actually made me like regional manager of all the gyms throughout Vegas. So I did that for a couple years. And then and this is when I started actually my first real introduction into sales and in like funnels and stuff like that. And I took on a mentor named Bedros Keuilian, who is pretty big in the fitness marketing industry. Actually, I just was blessed enough. I met him again, and I hadn't seen him in forever, at the ClickFunnels viral launch event when we set the world record. He was there. And I went up to him and talked to him, and he sent me a VIP invite. So my wife and I just went to his fitness business summit like 3 weeks ago, I think it was, in San Diego. And we were blessed enough to talk to him. And it was pretty crazy because like all this came full circle, because he was like my first introduction, where here I'm learning about marketing for, you know, gyms and personal training and that type of stuff. And he's like my first introduction to how like even a sales funnel works, or the whole thought process behind it, and you know, how to find people's pain points and how to be able to use those pain points to highlight how you're going to help solve their problem, which is really what all sales and funnels and everything's about. But he was my first introduction to that, and now here it is. I've got the 2 comma meth thing, and I meet him, so it's really a full circle. But anyway, back to the story. So I'm getting his stuff. I'm learning about sales. I'm running all these gyms, and all of a sudden they decide this took about 2 years. I was doing that, and all of a sudden they decide to sell all the gyms. They sold them all to different individual people, and because they're different owners, so they had like 12 gyms, but they're now separated among 6 different owners. They didn't really need a regional director anymore because everybody had their own individual gyms. So my job was unfortunately eliminated at that point. And to some degree, this is like the beginning of like the downfall of like my spiral into like not being able to be like going to paycheck, and the whole thing with having to go to the food bank and get food and all that, because of I was blessed enough during this whole cycle where I was doing all the stuff to meet my wife who's with me now. And that's the awesome thing too, man. I've been married now 7 years, and I've been so blessed that she's stuck through everything. Like there was times where I was trying to find my path and figure out what's going on, that she was working and literally supporting us all. You know, I mean, I was doing side jobs like digital marketing, designing things, but it hadn't really happened yet. And here's my wife working her ass off just to be able to, and I'm sorry if I wasn't supposed to go cuss, I'm sorry about that, but just to be able to like support us. And the sad thing is, you know, sometimes that wasn't enough, and I wasn't able to find jobs, and then, you know, and you know, sometimes like you don't, like I'm not also very good at saving, so that sucks, you know. I literally have had to hire an accountant to take care of all that stuff because I'm just not good at it. So thank goodness I'm in a place now that I can pay someone else to take care of it for me. But back then I couldn't, and because of that, that led to me making bad decisions. I would, instead of saving money, we'd go out and have a nice dinner or something, and then like some crazy event, and that's what it always would be, is like life would rear its head up. Oh, the tire blows out, or somebody hits us and they don't have insurance, so now we have to pay for the car, and next thing you know, we can't pay bills, and you know, we didn't have a savings, so there wasn't thousands of dollars in the bank, so if something happened, we could like take any hits. So if anyone listening to that, if you can take away from this, get a savings so that you can take hits. I know a lot of people say that you need to have like 3 to 6 months of your living expenses in the bank, which is something I'm definitely trying to get. Just because if you do, if someone like, that's one thing that happened to us. We had a wreck, you know, a relative died and we had to go visit, so we had to buy airfare, you know, and all these type of things. I mean, just try if you can. I know this isn't easy, and I sure as hell didn't do it. So. But try and take that away from this. If you can, try and start some type of savings, and just so you can have like that eggs nest, because when life rears its head, man, I do not want you to be at the food bank. Like, trust me, like standing in line at the food bank sucks, man. So just like, if you can, like save some money, like, you know, try and get those nest eggs in there, because that's going to make a difference. Because we weren't, and because of that, that's what happened and what led to the situation where things got so bad that we were paycheck to paycheck. And then, like I said, you know, my wife supported me, and God bless her, we were able to actually last November have her quit her actual job, where she was the manager at Calvin Klein Performance Athletic Wear in the mall here at Vegas, and you know, she was doing all right, and luckily, she hated it, man. She hated it, and she's such a good wife. I swear, like I never really knew how much she hated it until we were able to let her quit, and then she felt secure enough to actually tell me, because she knew that if she told me, I'm the type to be like, hey, babe, you need to just quit that job. We'll get something else, because as much as that would suck, I can't put her through as bad. Like, she hated her boss. She loved her people she worked with, but you know, it was just. But she did it because she loved me and she supported me, and she knew that if she kept behind me, that these times that we're at now would eventually come, you know, and so like, you know, that was the thing, and it's hard as a man to admit, but like, you know, because we're supposed to be like the tough guys and always bring home the bread, be the breadwinners, and be supportive of the family, and during that time period, I was just learning everything that's come to now, as far as like the digital marketing and everything like that. And the thing that sucks is a lot of times, especially with something like this, when you're in that spot of your entrepreneurial journey, you can't charge. I mean, I'm learning. I mean, I can do interning or something, but I sure as hell can't make money doing it. You know what I mean? Like, not initially. And I think that's a lot of times the thing that people run into too, is that initial beginning, because it's so hard, people quit. And again, that's tying into what I said before, you know, just it's going to be hard, man. If it was easy, everybody would have these stories, you know, everybody would, but they don't, because people quit along their journey. So yeah, so she supported me. Everything went great. Last November, she was able to quit her job. And since then, it's just been a whirlwind, man. We've been to several conferences. We went to Dan Henry's AdCon, which is a Facebook advertising convention, and we were blessed enough there to get an award for one of the fastest agencies to get to 10K. For one of his awards is once you have $10,000 a month in revenue or annual or reoccurring revenue, he gives you an award for that. And we were able to do it in I think it was 24 days that we were able to get up to 10,000. So it's finally all came together. And I know, Will, for everyone listening, seriously, one of the other things that I'm going to take off this away from my story real quick, because I think this is something really important. I've been blessed enough in the last year to hang out with some very high-level entrepreneurs and people that are very, very, very successful. And I'm going to tell you right now, and this is something that if I would have been able to figure out a little while back, who knows how much quicker everything would have happened. The difference between them and everyone else is they take imperfect action. They make things, they just do it. When they hear new ideas, when they have new ideas, they go ahead and they implement right away. Where most entrepreneurs will wait until something exactly perfect before they launch it, before they say it, before they make it, before they do it. And the thing that I've found dealing with all these people, and I'm sure you've maybe experienced, perfect never comes, man. It's never going to be perfect. Now, should you just launch with 2 days because, no, plan some stuff out. Let's be honest, try and keep it somewhat, but do not wait around for perfection. That is literally the difference between the people who are super successful and the people who never make it, other than the whole don't give up factor. We've already covered that. That's a given. You have to keep going. You have to push past it. But once you push past it, the other key thing that's really going to make people successful is take that imperfect action. Don't wait for it to be the best you've ever done. Launch it, fine tune it as you go. That's one of the things that with funnels for me, when I make a funnel, the chances of a funnel to me to be lucky and have a Kevin David where we do 1.2 million in 57 days, that was lightning. We've had some really good stuff. I was able to launch Akbar Sheik's course, and we did really well with that. We've had really good success, but that's not always going to be. That's not going to always happen. But so be ready for those, failures to come along the way, and be okay with that. Take that action and be okay with it not working out, because I think you have to realize that there's a high success that a lot of things will not work out the first time. Go into it with that mindset. Be ready to pivot. If you go into it and put all your eggs in one basket and it doesn't work out and you're not ready to jump to something else, where are you going to go? You know what I mean? It's does that make sense when I say that? But, and that's pretty much, I think that's pretty much all I got to say, really, as far as my story and just the message I just wanted to deliver. I just want you to know, just don't ever give up and be ready to pivot.
So I have a couple questions about your past and some of the things that you've done in your past. When you were talking about your time as a medic, I believe you said you were a medic for 4 years.
Correct.
You said you had some life-changing experiences. Can you talk a little bit about those in relation to who you've now become as an individual? Because I really want to see the connection between those events and who you are today.
So, other than, I met a lot of amazing people, but I almost died. So here's what happened is this is so funny. So one day we're sitting in our barracks and it's just raining like cats and dogs. This is in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina at the Marine Corps base that's there. And a bunch of my friends and I, we decided we're going to go see a movie. And even though it's raining and you can't see, we're like, oh, we'll just drive through. We're seriously, I'm 19 years old. I just went through boot camp. I've gone through all this other special training now and stuff. And I literally didn't think I could die no matter what. I thought I was invincible. So we're going to go see this movie in rain you can't even see. It was like monsoon weather. But so we're driving to see this movie. and you can see the movie theater off to your left, and my buddy Tyler accidentally turns because it's raining so hard. He turns one like shopping plaza or one little parking area before the actual turn in the movie theater. So we're no big deal, you know. Tyler's got this big truck. I'm talking big. The tires are like, I'm 6'5", and like the tires were, I'm like, these tires are huge, you know. So it's a really big truck. And all of a sudden we look over, and here's like, it's like almost like in the movies, you're like, oh, the promised land, which is the movie theater we're trying to get to, is like right on the other side. This little, it looks like a little tiny ditch, you know, just a little ditch, no big deal, little ditch. And it wasn't a little ditch, okay? So what happens is we decide we're going to drive Tyler's truck through this little ditch into the Knicks parking lot to go see the movies rather than just doing the smart thing and pulling out to the road and just going around, you know? So all of a sudden we're driving along, and all of a sudden Tyler guns it. We're driving along, boom, and you see this big splash of water, which is somewhat expected, but wasn't what happened next was expected, was the cabin starts filling up with water. And we're like, what's going on? And all of a sudden when the muddy water clears off the window, we see now that this ditch that looked like it was maybe, you know, a little 4 foot wide, maybe like 2 or 3 foot long, deep ditch. No, it's 6 foot to 7 foot deep, and we're in a drainage ditch that we didn't realize. It wasn't a little gully, it's an actual ditch, and the truck is now sinking, and it's starting to go into the water. So real quick, luckily we'd been taught a lot of survival skills, so we knew to be able to get the doors open or anything, we had to get the windows down. So we are, get the windows down, so we roll them, and the cabin's literally filling up with water at this time. It's like up to my leg level, and we're barely able, we weren't able to get our door open because the tide or the current was coming at us, so we had to go through our window. But Tyler was able to get his door open, and he got out his side. And so we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, now mind you, we'd all had one of the things, I was on part of the nuclear, chemical, biological response team for the East Coast. If there was a nuclear, chemical, or biological attack anywhere in the East Coast, we had to be able to respond to this within like a 2 to 3 hour window. So we all this special like crash helicopter. Like, check this out. I'll get back to the story, but we're at this helicopter training. What they do is they put you in this helicopter, and it's to simulate a helicopter crash landing. Because of the rotation of the blades on a helicopter, when it crashes into water, it automatically tips upside down from the rotation. So you're instantly inverted. So what they did is they had basically the body of a helicopter. They had the tail end and the front cut off, and they had seating in there. So you'd sit in these things, and they'd have you strapped down. They have the little harnesses that come over your shoulders, and the belt would come up between your legs, and they'd latch you in. And you have all your gear on, which is like 80 pounds worth of gear that you like, the helmet, the flak jacket, all this type of stuff. And they lift you up, I think it was like 25 to 30 feet in the air above a pool. And then they drop you, and sounds like a ride at this point, and it was sort of fun for a second. But the second this like, fake like capsule of a helicopter, I want people that can hear this to be able to imagine that it's literally like just the guts part of where the seats are for the helicopter hits the water, it spins and flips you upside down. And then they teach you, one of the things is to watch your bubbles, so you know that the bubbles go up, so that's obviously top, because you can get really discombobulated and lose orientation, so you want to watch your bubbles. But we would come out, and this is just the reason why I'm all telling this is because this is some of the type of training I had. So when we were in this water in this truck, it was no big deal, even though there's these huge currents. We're like laughing and playing around because we literally had done like drown proofing and all this other type of like advanced military training. So swimming this ditch, even though it was no big deal, even though it's literally like 10, 20 mile an hour currents or whatever. So we're not thinking about it. And all of a sudden, the current grabs me, and grabs me and starts pulling me over the hood of the trunk. And here's, because we were so used to being in the water, I'm actually laughing when this is happening, because one of the things they'd always taught you is anytime you get caught in a current, you just swim with the current, swim to the side, no big deal, and get out, no big deal, So I'm like having a good time. And all of a sudden, I roll over the truck, and I'm like laughing as the current's like taking me down the river here, this drainage ditch or whatever, And then all of a sudden I feel something hit me, wham, it hits me like super hard across my chest. I mean, just like someone took like a bat and hit me straight across my chest. And I put my hands up and I braced myself. I was like, what's going on? What's going on? I couldn't figure it out. And all of a sudden, next thing I know, everything's black around me. I'm holding on still to this edge, but like everything's black. And all of a sudden I figure out that I'm getting sucked into an actual drainage pipe ditch. That it's like literally a 3-foot in diameter pipe that I'm being sucked into. And I'm holding on to the edge trying to pull myself out. And as I was saying before, I didn't tell this, but the current is so strong that the truck went into the straight angle, and it actually had turned the truck at a 45-degree angle. That's how strong the current was. So when it ripped me over the top of the truck, you can sort of imagine the pull. But again, I wasn't bothered. But then once I hit this, I just couldn't pull myself out. I'm like, I'm trying. I'm like, this is gonna happen. I'm like, Jeff, you gotta let go. So I just let go at that point, and I let the current start taking me, and I can feel around me, and it's about 3 to 4 feet in diameter. You know, I'm 6'5", so it's still pretty tight, and there's no way I'm going back. So I tell myself, I'm like, Jeff, you've had all this training, you can do this. Just swim, because I know this has got to end somewhere. So I'm just hoping that I can get to the end. So I just start swimming, and I'm doing this swim called it's called recovery swim, where you're swimming, you're extending one arm out in front of you, and you're pulling with the other arm. And it's like a side stroke that they teach you for like treading water in the ocean and stuff like that. So I'm swimming this stroke, this recovery stroke, going. And all of a sudden, I don't realize this because it's pitch black, and I'm going as fast as I can with the current pushing me as well, because I'm with the current now. The pipe curves. So, and I slam my head into the pipe, and it like knocks me a little bit loopy at this point for just a couple of seconds. And I turn my body, I start swimming the current. It's pulling me too, but start swimming the current again. And then the pipe turns again. And this time I slam my head into it so hard that, like, even though I'm in water, I can feel myself like start to bleed. And I like see, no joke, like one of the few times I've actually in my life ever seen actual stars, you know, like it was like white light. So now I'm actually starting to get really worried, because I've been under here, I don't know how long, I've been swimming, and like, I mean, I'm encased in water. It's not like in the movies where you lift up and there's like a little bubble that you can suck out or something, you know, like Sylvester Stallone or somebody does in the days, and they're making it. This thing's totally full of water and pitch black, and it's got this like 10 to 20 mile an hour current behind me pushing me. So I start swimming again, and I can literally like start to feel myself go, like I'm starting to like pass out. Like I've been underwater, I'm starting to get, you know, I'm starting to feel it, and all of a sudden I see like this light ahead. And I'm like, I was very religious at that point. I was like super religious. So I was like, you know, either this is the end and I'm going towards the holy light, or there's an exit, but either way, this is good. So I'm going to start swimming towards it as fast as I could. So I start swimming as fast as I can towards this light, and thank God it was an opening, and it was the end of this pipe. And I pop up and I come up out of the water, and I'll never forget it. There were some other guys that had come to try and help us. They had another truck that they'd come up before all this when we were trying to roll the windows down to help pull us out. And they see me, and I'm like, no joke, like 100 yards down away from where the truck was at. And all of a sudden the guy comes running and jumps in like he's going to save me. And he starts getting taken down the current. So now I have to let go over, no joke, save him, because I don't know if this pipe starts at all. You know, for everybody else, what I forgot to tell this part, the reason why we couldn't see that this was an underground pipe is because the water was so strong it actually was going over the top and traveling across land. So it seemed like it was one seamless river. What we didn't realize is it was all actually flowing underground, and very little bit was actually above the river across. So I didn't know if this pipe started again and he was about to get sucked down in it or what. So I literally jump across, grab him, pull him back. We get out, and then the next day after the rain had stopped, we went and looked, and no joke, we measured it out, and it was 113. This is one of my favorite numbers, 13, 113 yards. Like, we're talking just over a football field. I was underwater in a pipe. And I look back on this day, and I'm like, man, if there had been a twig or a branch stuck in there that I could have got caught on, who's to say there shouldn't have been a grate on there? There's a storm drain. Why did it not have a grate on there, you know? So, and this is going to sound really crazy, but like when that happened, I felt that I was meant to do, like, I mean, whether you believe in whatever you believe, you know, I personally felt that I was meant to do something more than just be Jeff Banek as far as just being someone. So that, I think, was one of the major things that helped drive through those hard times that, you know, like, I mean, I made it through that. Like, I mean, that's crazy, dude. 113, that 13 is my lucky number now, but 113 yard underground, cased in concrete, completely underwater. So that's why now when I help businesses, that it's not just about money or anything. I look at the families that are going to have a chance now. That, you know, this business that could have fallen apart, and who knows if that would have destroyed their marriage or whatever. Now, I mean, like, I'm giving it a chance, and I don't want to sound like I'm trying to be arrogant, because that's not at all. I'm totally like giving it up here, because like I think that it's about helping those people, and that's why I really do the business I do, is because I want to make a difference. You know, like, recently, one of my mentors, Akbar Sheikh, we were talking about, I said, now that I'm making this money, like, how do I give it back? And he was like, well, what is a charity that when you think about it makes you cry? So I was like, you know, make a wish, you know, with the kids. I'm like, that when I think about that, it brings tears to my eyes, because these kids, I want to be able to help them. And so that originally was actually my main thing that I was focusing on, to give monetarily back. You know, I can give my time and do things like that, but to give back with your money, because that's one thing, when you're able to finally get to a point that you're doing well, you know, it doesn't stop there. You need to be able to give and make a difference, because that's one of the great things about making money, is now you can actually make a difference. You know, like, that's the thing that sucks, man. When you're poor, like, you can give your time, but other than that, like, I mean, that's all I got for you. You know what I mean? That's literally all I got. And now I've got some more money, so now I'm trying to give that back as well. But one of the things that recently impacted me beyond like anything was when I was at Funnel Hacking Live this last year and got my 2 comma. They had a group there called Operation Underground Railroad, and Russell Brunson was promoting this. And what we're doing is we're stopping the like trafficking of children for, you know, they're using these children for sex, and then they're also and of course labor, and then some of the other things they're doing is they're using these children for organs. They're actually, which I didn't know this was as bad either, but they're harvesting organs from these children. And I don't know, me being a medic, let me tell you, there's only a couple organs that they can take off someone and not kill them. So that means that they're literally taking these innocent children and killing them for their organs. And then they went in and highlighted all and I don't want to get into too much because I don't want to bum people out, but you know, this is just really out there, and people do need to know about it. You know, there's 10-year-old and 8-year-old children that are being kidnapped and taken away, and their parents are selling them so they can be used for sex, and it's terrible. And the worst thing about it is that the U.S. is the highest offensive country out of all of them. So we are the people who perpetuate all this, so we really need to make a difference. So now all my money that I give and all my time is going towards that. So, you know, there's a right now Russell's doing a video. So if you go to OURRfilm.org, it's Russell Brunson, and they're right now doing a huge promotion to help promote that. So if you happen to hear about that, please go to ourfilm.org and check that out and help make a difference, because you can save a kid's life that they can't do it for themselves. You know, they're innocent, so make a difference, and you know, that's why I'm doing things I do. So I would like being on podcasts like this, so that, you know, we can tell people and let people know that there's really bad things going on in the world. And people say all the time that they want to make a difference. Well, here's a chance, dude. Go donate like $10. That's it, man. You know, that's one of the things that they were saying, is that their operations need people to be donating on a monthly basis so they can continue on. So check that out. So that's pretty much the Jeff Banek story right there, dude. That's the long and short of why I am where I am today. That some of the events that have changed me, and there's a lot of good that's happened between there and a lot of bad, but you know, I'm here now. So, and we're making a difference, and it's an amazing thing, man. It's seriously amazing to be able to know that all those shitty times, excuse my language again, but all those bad times, man, that I'm able to do what I'm able to do now because I was able to make it through those times. So
Jeff, I think one of the things that we're learning about you as we go through this interview is that you're an emotional person. And that
yeah, man, I'm sorry.
No, in a good way.
My mom, my mom and dad are still together. I'm blessed enough to have a whole family, but yeah, she gave me the emotional side. So
in a good way, in a very good way.
Yeah, it is. I just say that I'm 44. This is what's crazy. Okay, I'm 44 years old and literally leading a digital revolution. So for all those people that might be listening to this and might be a little older in the demographics, I mean, I'm doing things that 25-year-olds aren't doing right now, as far as when it comes to technology. And I'm supposed to not know how to turn on a computer, some people. So just keep that in mind. So anyway.
So when it comes to your emotions and really understanding who you are as a person, how do you harness that raw emotion, that part of yourself, and how do you channel that into your business, right? How do you become self-aware to know who you are and channel that?
So that's a great, so up till recently, it was funny, like I had anger issues, not like, and I could never understand why. And I'm not angry like, beat my wife or anything, anger that never happened or anything like that. But like, for instance, if someone cut me off, I would get, in driving, I get very angry about that, to the point where one time I like literally followed you to the parking lot and wanted to fight him. It's ridiculous. And the thing was, it was crazy is like, I don't know exactly where that stemmed from, because like I said, I've had these ups and downs, but I had a good childhood. My mom was a great mom. My dad is a great dad, and they're actually in town right now. And later this afternoon, I'm taking them out to out on the strip, and we're going to. I don't really want to see it, but we're going to see Donnie and Marie because they want to go see the Donnie and Marie show. So I'm taking them out to dinner. But I've had a very blessed life when it's come to my family and different things. So I don't know where this anger came from. But for the longest time, I would be very angry about things and let stuff bother me. But one day I saw someone else acting this way. I just looked at them and I go, that's me. And I made the decision at that point that I didn't want to be that way. And it's taken like a good 2 years of me working on it. But now I can honestly say that like I've gotten rid of that. Like I'm most mellow. Like, it takes a lot to, like, even set me off anymore, to where, I mean, like I said, I followed a dude into Smith's, which is a grocery store here in Vegas, parking lot, and, like, got in an altercation with this dude because he, like, cut me off, where now, you got to realize, and I would appreciate it if someone hears this to take this way, that, like, be willing to put yourself in their shoes. Man, they could be having a bad day. Their mom could have died. They could be late for work, whatever it is. We've all been there. I've been the dude to cut people off. So, for me to get mad about some dude that, no one was killed, no one was hurt, everyone makes mistakes. These are the things that I'm able to recognize and sort of become, like you're saying, more self-aware that, I didn't want to be that way anymore. And if I really didn't want to be that way anymore, then I had to do something different. So I would really focus on things and try and see it from other people's perspective, because maybe I look back at now, I'm like, maybe that's a lot of like my internal trying to push out or something. I was doing a lot of projection onto people about things in myself, maybe, so now I've tried to become more self-aware of that and realize that, everyone has their own story, and you cannot, who are you to say whether where they're at in their life is good or bad, So that's pretty much it. I mean, as far as that, and really just looking at why people do what they do, realize there's always a motivation behind it. And I always try and keep mine as pure as possible, because one of the things I've learned throughout time is when you this is crazy to say, but when you chase after money and that's all you care about, you will never find it. Like, seriously, like, that's when you think about it and that's all that you want is to make a dollar, make a dollar, make a dollar. You might, but if you do, it's going to be short-lived. The real longevity and fulfillment comes from being able to help others. Like, that's how I started with the ClickFunnels thing. When I was very jumping in and I got the second highest contributor, I wasn't trying to get money. I just wanted to help people, and I knew ClickFunnels really, really well. So why not help them and give them my gift that I was able to understand ClickFunnels so well? And because of that, I was rewarded, and then things have just gone since then. And the more I find, the more that I want to give and help people out, the more things come back. And it's really, I know it's like, that's so cliche-ish, or cliche, I hope I said that, cliche-ish, I think that's right. The thing for someone to say, but it really, in my experience, is true. Like, I mean, when I like look at it from like the point, when I meet with a business, that how can I help that business succeed, rather than how can I get money from that business for doing tasks for them, you know, that's when I see my growth with them happen, because I really care about what's happening for that business, and they're just not a dollar or number to me, you know what I mean? So did that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely it did. And what I think kind of one of the takeaways from that is that looking to provide value first is the way to really set yourself up for long-term success. And correct me if I'm wrong, please, but that's kind of one of the takeaways that it seems like is a recurring theme that, you know, we've been talking about. So before we jumped on the call, you were telling me about this incredible plaque that you just got.
Oh.
So, you know, it would be great if you could share the story of that. So you said that you actually broke a record with ClickFunnels. I believe that's what you said. So can you talk about exactly how you got into that, and what record did you actually break?
So yeah, that was I was blessed enough that with one of the first gentlemen, like I said, after I received the award for second highest contributor, this guy Kevin David that does he teaches a course on how to sell fulfillment through Amazon. It's a really good course, obviously. But we decided, he had already had a following. He had done, his YouTube had already had like 250,000 views on it. So as much as I'd like to take full credit for everything, he had already a decent following. It was more just shaping that following into the direction it is now. But we decided to do a webinar funnel. We set it all up, build this course out. And then when we launched, 57 days later, we had set a record for $1.2 million. We actually had 2 days that we did over $100,000 in 2 days in course sales. This course sells for $997. But the even a more amazing thing, like that record's great, but even more beyond that, in the amount that he sell, is the amount of people he's actually changed their life. Like just the other day, one of the people that are at this mastermind in Puerto Vallarta, and her name's Casey, she had decided her and her husband wanted to quit their jobs, and they wanted to promote traveling, the traveling life, like traveling in an RV and traveling around the world. And they wanted to be able to sell Amazon FBA to help support this. And they'd taken Kevin's course, and they were learning and doing and everything. But at the actual event, they decided to go all in. They were going to quit their jobs, go all in on Amazon, go all in on traveling in the RV, and just, you know, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't, but they're going to do it. And I am honored to say that literally 3 days ago, they are now doing $1,000 a day in Amazon. And they're able to live their dream. I mean, it is amazing. Like, it's just amazing the things that he's able to do with his course and lives he's changed. That's just some of the few people. When we were at the event, this is how awesome, I mean, like, this is how awesome Kevin is. Like, I have very rarely have I ever had a client. I've had a lot of great clients that I really, really like working with. But Kevin's the type of guy that, like, he's hired me, but I feel like I should give a testimonial for him. You know what I mean? Where normally I'm asking him to give me a testimonial for my business. I almost feel that I should give a testimonial for him just because of all the effort and heart that he puts into everything he does. I remember when we were at the event, at one point, everybody was sort of like, we were doing this little photo shoot thing, but everybody was around the stage and they're all yelling and stuff. And he literally, like, a tear came out of his eye because he was just so moved of what he's been able to do and the lives he's able to change. And the great thing is, this is just the beginning of this for us. When I do all this stuff now, any of his funnels, whatever he needs, emails, you know, webinars, whatever he needs, I help him out with. We've developed a friendship beyond just business now. But I'm always there for him. We always continue to work together. And now we had the 1.2 million in 57 days, which we slowed way down because one of the things that Kevin likes to do is he likes to travel around the world. So now he spent the last 6 months traveling around all these different ports and stuff. But in less than a year now, we'll be looking at right around $3 million in sales through just the courses he's done now. So, and the way we were able to do that was, he didn't have a super big team. Like, mind you, he's got VAs and he's got some things like that. He's got a guy that does his YouTube and stuff, and I do all of his funnels and stuff. But it's really not that big of a team, which is amazing, because that's the great thing about funnels is once you set everything up and put the work on the front end, a lot of it becomes automated with the email autoresponders, the mini chat sequences, that type of stuff. So it just is an ecosystem that literally grows and continues to grow. I mean, right now, through his ecosystem, we're doing between 19,000 and 21,000 new opt-ins every 90 days. So that means, and then through just his regular sales, we're doing, I mean, like, I think our average day is like 30 or 40,000 or something like that. It's really crazy to even say, but yeah. So, and the great thing above all the numbers is, like I said, is the fact that we're constantly getting people telling how much value he gives. And that's obviously why he does so well, because, like, you know, if it was terrible, you can only make things like, I can only make a funnel so good before word's going to get out that, like, this course sucks, you know. So that's also a testament, but to the course and the value. But that's really the story of how that happened is I met him. I got the award in ClickFunnels, and it was really in a short time span. So that was what's amazing is I met him in ClickFunnels. We launched everything. 2 months later, 57 days, we have the record. And then this was like around, I think it was August 14th roughly is when this happened, where the ClickFunnels viral launch party was about to be August 15th, where they're just about to launch this new video with the nude squirrel and the gold digging prospector, and Russell's launching all this viral video stuff. So Kevin gets an invite to the party. And Kevin being Kevin, because he's just such an awesome dude, makes sure I get invited as well. Like, I wasn't supposed to get an invite, but because Kevin, like, started talking to people, and because I think also because I was so active in the community, like, people recognized me a little bit, you know, they're like, oh, that's Jeff, you know, he helps out and stuff. So I was blessed enough to be able to get an invite to this, and I'll never forget the day I got this thing. Like, I had to double check and triple check. I'm like, is this real? I'm like, I mean, realize, dude, like, we're doing great, like, but nothing's really happened. I mean, I got paid okay for doing Kevin's stuff, but it was really one of my first major funnels, so I was still making crap. You know, like I said, 6 months ago, we had pawned my wife's ring because we couldn't pay rent. So 1.2 million, it wasn't my 1.2 million. I wasn't getting rev share or anything, you know. Not that it hasn't obviously in tenfold paid off since then, but, you know, but again, that hard time, I had to get through it. But so anyway, Kevin makes sure that I get invited to this party, and I'm there. I meet Gary Vee, I meet JP Sears, I meet Caleb Maddox, I meet all these top-level entrepreneurs. I met Akbar for the first time. I met Jose Pena, who are all now clients of mine. You know, so it helped to literally give me the foothold. I mean, I'm a pretty decently personable guy, I think. I get along pretty well with people, and you know, because of that, it has helped me to be able to talk to people, and you know, I have a confidence. You know, I know what I can do. I know I can make a good funnel. I know I make good messenger bots, and because of that, when I talk to people, I think it comes across that, you know, I know what I'm doing, and because of that, I've been able to introduce myself to them, and my business has grown. I mean, like right now, I do no paid traffic. I do nothing. All my business is 100% word of mouth. I don't have no traffic sources running whatsoever. I go strictly off referrals just because, like I said, I'm blessed enough that I've done some good work, and now people are willing to tell their friends about me. So
it seems like at the end of the day, yes, you've put in a ton of hard work, and yes, you know, you've noticed that shift from trying to be perfect to being okay with imperfect action. But at some point, your skill and your talent as an advertiser and your ability to show results has been, you know, what stands out and helps you stand out from the crowd. So I want to talk about what actually makes your marketing so much different than everybody else's. So can you talk about the reason why your specific funnels are converting so highly? Your specific funnels show results, and how can other people learn from how you do it to also become successful?
Sure. One of the number one things that I see when I look, because I do a lot of funnel consultations and things like that, is people get so caught up in what they're selling that becomes their baby, that they forget that, like, if you're selling a screwdriver, let's say, telling me that the screwdriver is like 6 inches long and has an anodized steel this and it's this, those are just features. That's not going to tell me that, hey, this screwdriver is going to allow you to screw 3 times faster or whatever, that's not going to be more efficient, because people as a whole don't care about features. They care about what's in it for them. Like, literally, that's the number one thing. If I go to a funnel and I can't tell right off the bat what it is, how I'm going to get it, and what's in it for me, then you need to redo the whole thing right now, because that's the first thing. Think about it. When you as a person come to something and you're looking at something, you want to know what it is, what's in it for me, and if I decide I want it, how do I get it? Because if those 3 things aren't available, your sales cycle is killed right off the bat. So we need to have that right off the bat, because I'll have plenty of them. The headline will be some crazy headline that has no real value or tie-in to what their actual message is. You need to have congruency. That's the other thing. As you're reading, everything needs to make sense and tell one story. That's another problem that people have, is they'll try and do multiple things through a funnel. A funnel is called funnel. It's supposed to come down to a narrow point or focus. So it should be focused on one thing. So, for instance, if you're trying to sell something, use this funnel just to sell. Don't try and get leads in this. Don't try and get people to opt in your email sequences or whatever else. This is the sales funnel. We'll make another funnel, and that funnel's purpose is to get their opt-in or their emails or whatever we're trying to do. I've had many times I'm there, it's like, buy my stuff here, and oh, go to my Facebook group here, and oh, join my email list here. Well, look, if I've got all these options, who's to say that I wanted to buy your product? But now you just said Facebook group, so I'm going to go to the Facebook group because I love Facebook groups. And then next thing you know, I've totally forgot that I was even going to buy your product. That's the number one thing, and that's what really differentiates a funnel from a website too. Like, you go to a website, there's all these navigation points. You can click on this to go to a new page. You got the links up at the top. You got the links at the bottom. You got the buttons all over the place. The average website has roughly 21 different points of exiting from the main page. A funnel has one point, and it's going to go to the next step in the funnel, and that's all it does. It's very focused. It's one thing in mind. And I think by keeping that framework, that's one of the things that makes me different, is I'm very focused. So, like, and the other thing too is I go off, like I started off before, is I go off the pain points. I go, how is this going to affect that person? What problem is this going to solve? Because that's what really everyone wants, is to fix a problem, whether it's you're overweight or you need to make a house or you want to, learn how to sell Amazon FBA. Whatever it is, it's fixing a problem. So if my funnel can walk you through the process of how this is going to fix that problem, and if it's easier and it's less headache and heartache than everything you've tried before, then it's going to work. And that's the other thing too, and Russell speaks on this a lot, is you want to try and not make funnels that are improvement offers. Like, this is the better way to do something. That's not going to work, because the original way didn't work for him. So why is necessarily a little bit better way going to work? No, I'm going to show you a new offer or a new opportunity. So rather than doing it this way and doing it better, I'm going to take you over here and show you a whole different way that we're going to do it. And that's why things, like, as crazy as it sounds, like everyone from Jesus to Hitler have been able to have mass followings, is because they've had a new opportunity. Jesus, through a new form of religion. It wasn't like the old God coming down in brimstone and hail and everyone's going to die if you're a sinner. God was like, now we're going to do the laws of Moses, and we're going to actually talk about, forgiveness and all that. It's a new opportunity. It's a new vehicle. Well, same thing with Hitler, crazy guy, but he was offering the Germans, we're not going to pay back the U.S. We're going to do a whole new different vehicle, and we're going to go over this way. And because of that, people resonated and were able to follow with him. So, all in all, I think that these are some of the things that I really try and focus on, is, making sure your funnel's congruent, making sure your message all makes sense, making sure it's one focus, making sure that it focuses more on the benefits and uses the features to highlight the benefits. So instead of it just saying that it's going to do this, instead of saying it's got this and it does this, say, well, it's going to help you because it's got this and it does this. So that way it's telling it uses those two benefits of it being the fastest or the best or whatever it is to help accentuate the point of how it's going to help someone. Because no one cares how fast your product or how good your product is. They want to know how it's going to help me. And then if you tell me, oh, it's going to help you this way, and by the way, we're fast and cool or whatever, and that's going to make you get better, even better, that's when it really kicks in. And then the other thing you need to do is you need to not give them the epiphany. And now I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit, okay? When someone's going through, how many times have you been reading something or you saw something and all of a sudden you went, now I get it. You had the epiphany. And that epiphany or that breakthrough, when you do it yourself, is so much more powerful than me going, here it is, here's your epiphany, I'm going to tell you exactly what it is, it's right here, let me put it in your face. Be more subtle. Walk them through your own thought process on why it's special or it does what it does for you, and let them come to that epiphany on their own. Because if they're reading through your copy or the text on your funnel or watching the videos that are on your funnel, and all of a sudden they go, they get it. At that point, they're sold. Take them to the order form, close them, and move them down your sales process. But really, that's it, is you want that funnel too to not only highlight everything, but you want them to walk through that process where they know nothing about you. They get to the funnel, the top of the funnel, they're starting to learn about you. By the time they get to the bottom, they're going, now I get it, how product X or course D or whatever is going to help me to be able to, again, what's it going to help you do? Solve that problem, because that's what it is. People buy on emotion. Very rarely do people they're getting them a little bit more because computers are so analytical and stuff, but very rarely do people buy straight on logic where they're like, yes, I need this, I must get this, that type of stuff. No, they're very much more emotional where it makes you feel a certain way. How many times do you someone say they wanted something, they don't need it, they wanted it. So they're, that's their psyche telling them they wanted. It wasn't like that they were about to die, so they had to eat, So that's the thing. You need to be able to play off that, and don't be afraid to twist the knife. And when I say twist the knife, to really drive in these pain points, because here's the thing, here's how I look at when I look at sales. I believe in every product I promote or help to promote. If I didn't, I wouldn't promote them. So if I don't do my job, I'm doing a disservice to every person that can benefit from this product. So if I don't get the message across directly like it should and convey that message in a way that's going to allow you to get that epiphany moment, I am doing you a disservice and I'm hurting you, because you're not going to be able to fix that. For all we know, this might be the only person that does what he does and is able to help you out. And if I don't get the message across to you, you might go to some quack doctor or something else, for doing medicine or whatever. And what if you get hurt? Now I'm responsible for you getting hurt because I didn't do my job and get the point across. So you have to, as a marketer, always realize that it's just not, again, the money. It's the end game. You're helping people. You're changing people's lives by solving a problem. So keep that in mind in your copy. What is the problem? How are you going to solve it? How are you going to change your life? So I think that might be one of the reasons I'm a little bit more effective in my funnels.
I absolutely agree. And I really like how you've given advice that, yes, it is technical, but it's evergreen, because these are the concepts behind the funnel. Right. They're the concepts behind the funnel. It's not saying, okay, use this specific picture at 1280 by 720 pixels. It's not saying that. It's saying this is the concept behind the funnel. This is the concept. This is the idea. So you can take that idea and then apply it to your specific situation. And so exactly. I really challenge everybody who's listening to go through and listen to what Jeff had to say. Replay it as many times as you need until you really understand what he's saying, and you have that aha moment with your own funnel, right?
Right.
It's a perfect example. And so, thank you for that. That was great.
Awesome.
So I want to, speaking of evergreen, I want to talk about when you were saying how the work is done up front, right? Because you're saying the work is done up front, you set up your funnel, and then there's very little maintenance going forward. And you can just onboard new people and put them into your ecosystem, I believe was the term that you used.
Right. Yep.
How do you keep that funnel evergreen, right? And for somebody who's been in it and gone through it, how do you keep them engaged? So I guess it's a two-part question. How do you keep the main funnel itself evergreen? And once people go through that funnel, how do you continue to keep them engaged?
Right. So, and that's a great question and that's one of the things that we constantly deal with, because things like Amazon, like Facebook ads, they are constantly changing the rules on us all the time. So one of the main ways that you can keep things evergreen is constant content. Like Kevin probably puts out anywhere from 15 to 20, maybe even more videos every 30 days. And some of them are 5 to 10 minutes long, some are 30 minutes to a couple of hours long. But the main thing about his videos is that he always makes sure he provides actionable content. Like, things that like, these are things that you can do right now. These are changes that are happening right now. Implement this in your business and it's going to make a change. And as far as the webinar goes for the evergreen, the key for that is when we're selling his course is that we highlight things in the course that are like you just got through saying that are going to be around. These are the fundamentals that don't change. And by highlighting some of those things, we're able to not have to necessarily change up the content of the webinar because it resonates still throughout. It talks more about the systems and the things like that we're using, not necessarily the technical stuff, because the technical stuff changes. And that's where the updates come in, the new videos come in, the new content. But for an evergreen, to get a good evergreen webinar, you want to focus on tactics and techniques that ring true throughout time. Like there's certain things in marketing that, always hold true, like colors and stuff might change, or what font's hot right now might change. But there's certain like selling things like, for highlighting pain points, these are things that ring true throughout marketing, whether you're selling personal training or you're selling funnels, or if you're selling cookies to the Girl Scouts, it's always rings true that you're going to get more sales by being able to highlight what problem you're solving or what pain point that you're actually solving. Let's see here. As far as the process that we are doing to help make things evergreen, some of the other things that we're incorporating a lot of new technologies, as far as like, for instance, I've delved really deep into Facebook Messenger bot, because I feel that is going to be one of the new platforms that everyone's on. And one of the things I like to do is wherever the new attention at, without going to every shiny object that comes up, but when I find something, I find that's where the attention is going to be for some time, I try and become very good at it. Because I feel that the next 3 to 5 years, people are going to be heavy on Messenger. So I can position myself now in a spot that I'm one of the top people on Messenger platforms. I got a job for the next 3 to 5 years. As one of the top people. So we're constantly integrating new stuff like that. Well, not constantly, actually. But whenever I feel something strong, we've integrated Messenger now heavily into Kevin's content. Because it's a new platform too, it's a new way to communicate, where emails are very static and they're like, here's my message, read it, that type of stuff. Messenger bot is much more conversational, where it's finding out questions about you and it's engaging with you as a customer and as a subscriber. Because let's be honest, like, what does everyone like to talk about more than anything else? Themselves, right? We love to talk about ourselves. If you walk up to someone and you go, tell me about your day, they'll sit there and blabber on. But if you start talking about yours, they might be like, I got to go do something. I'll be back in a minute, So everyone likes to hear talk about themselves. So that's a great thing about Messenger bot, is you're able to use, quote unquote, that against people by high segmentation. Like when we put people through bot sequences in Kevin's stuff right now, we highly segment people to like, how much are you making, how many staff you got, depending on what it is, so that we're able to get a very specific model of what our perfect customer is, because then that allows us to target our message towards that person. So that way our funnel reads the same way, our emails, our bot sequences, our webinars, everything is speaking the same language to hit that person, which is the new person that's, and for his instance, is a new person that's trying to quit their 9-to-5 job and move into Amazon FBA.
I think that's very actionable advice that you just gave. And again, I love what you said about how when you see an opportunity that is going to be big, move towards it. Go dominate that space, become the expert. So I think that goes back to, you don't have to be perfect at it, but be one of the people who's at least trying and at least going and get it. So when it comes to funnels, what it sounds like, and please, you're the expert, so correct me when I'm wrong, I'm just trying to summarize here. It sounds like we need to be, one, keeping our customers in mind and making sure that we're solving their problems, that we have them in mind with this whole process. But we're guiding them through a very custom tailored process for them. Like, we're segmenting based on our different sequences, and we're helping them kind of find their place within our business while giving them that epiphany moment of, aha, this is what I need to be doing, this is where I need to be going, this is how I can be most successful. And by giving them the power to be successful, yes, they're figuring it all out for themselves through you. So you are the vehicle that they are driving to figure it out for themselves. Does that kind of summarize what we're going for here?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, like, especially for bots, I almost like to tell people it's like a choose your own adventure for whatever product we have. You want to, jump off the cliff, turn to page 37, well, you'll do this sequence, but that's the great thing is it is. And funnels too, they allow people to have their own personal experience with your brand or your product. And I think that's one reason why we're able to get the higher conversion in sales, is because it is like a personal experience. It's not just you looking at like a catalog something or somewhere. It speaks to you and it talks to you and it speaks your language, and it tugs on those heartstrings, and maybe it will bring a tear to your eye, hopefully, And I say hopefully because really, I want to make you feel these feelings. I mean, it's my job. And again, I truthfully feel that if I don't do my job, I'm doing it a service. Whether it's, as silly as it is. Okay, porta pot, or these, what are squatty potties, right? Have you ever heard of the brand Squatter Potty? Okay. So imagine this. All the people that Squatty Potty has helped to have better movements would not have happened if they hadn't made this silly viral video, because they knew it reached their market and be able to get the message out. So think about all the people who live better now and have better movements because of this thing, because marketers realized how to get the message out. And yes, they've sold millions because of it, but they've also changed millions of people's lives for the better. So that's really how, as a marketer, if you aren't viewing it that way, you're doing everyone, including yourself as a marketer, because it's only going to last so long before people are like, dude, you suck, seriously. So keep your people in mind, because that's who you're selling to. It's not you, you're not selling to yourself. I think a lot of marketers get caught up in this is my baby, and they get all their own personal message in it, and they forget who's their target audience, who are they going after. And that is something else. Let me tell you right now, if you do not know who your customer is, if I can't tell you like a general age, like they're roughly, in 30 to 35, and when I say general, like 20 to 40 is not a general age. I mean, it is, but not for marketing, 5-10 years at the most. Is it mainly men that we're speaking to, or mainly women? Do they have a family? Do they have a job? How much do they make? These are all things that you have to keep in mind. Where do they hang out? What type of magazines do they read? What type of websites do they go to? By knowing these about your customer, it's going to allow you to know your customer better. You're going to be able to speak to them in a more clear, definitive language that they understand, and allows them to reach that aha moment by themselves.
That's great. That's great, Jeff. So I want to ask you about yourself right now, because we talked about your past, right? And we talked about, your life and all the incredible experiences that you've had and been through, and we talked about your most recent accomplishment. But what is your biggest focus today?
Well, today I'm growing my digital agency and scaling that. I'm also looking to do a course to help teach people, the value that I'm providing now. Help people to stop making funnels that don't sell. Again, you change the world. You can change the world through funnels. You can change the world through marketing. Like, people don't realize this. Marketing affects every part of your life. If you're a guy and you're into ladies and you want to have a date, you're marketing yourself to her. If you go to get a job, you're marketing yourself to your boss or potential boss. Like, every interaction in life where you're setting up standards or you're setting up, preconceived ideas, it's a form of marketing. So marketing goes through every part of your life. So I think that people need to just realize that this type of stuff can really make a difference. And when we go into it with that mindset, and I'm not I'm nobody special, dude. I don't want people to think that I'm trying to say I'm anything, because dude, I'm just a guy that worked hard and got lucky, and then it just has been good since then. It's just been, it's just been a blessing. So I work really hard for what I do, but like I said, I don't think that there's anything. Yes, I survived the car and all the stories told and stuff, but I think that anyone can do this, man. I think that the only thing that's going to stop someone from making a difference is that they give up. They let people tell them, because, dude, don't think I haven't heard people tell me that that's not going to work, or you suck and blah, blah, blah. It's all happened, man. It's not been roses, and it's usually never that way. But keep going. Don't let people turn you down. And one of the things, too, that I think a lot of people, it's really, really, really hard when you're changing your paradigm or who you are, or the direction you're headed, is this silly saying of you are the 5 people you surround yourself with. You're the sum of those people. So if those people aren't doing what you want to be or where you want to be, they might need to change. And this part's hard, man. It's hard. I've got friends that I love, and they're great people, but they're doing the same old thing, man. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I love them to death. I love my friends, but I can't have them be a major part of my life and regularly engage with them, because they don't understand the drive that I have, and they don't understand what I want to do. And they're cool being a manager at CVS or running the restaurant bar or whatever it is. And dude, I am cool with that. I love them to death. They're great people. But if you want to become more than just that, you have to change. And this sounds harsh. This feels I feel like I'm just Gary Vee saying this thing right now, it's harsh, or something like that, because but it's true, man. It's hard, but you have to make a difference. And the only way you're going to make a change in yourself is to make a change around you. If you stay in the same environment, if you keep the same mentality, and don't be a victim, man. It'd been very easy for me many times to just be oh, life sucks and it hates me and blah, blah, and but you can't do that, man. You can. Go ahead and do it, but I can guarantee you will not advance in life if you do. Take responsibility. That was one of the things, I saw that, that person when I was angry that's me. And I realized that that's not something I want to be, and I decided to make a change, and I've been working on it ever since then, and I'm still not perfect now by any means, I still work on it to this day, but I think it's just that realization that if you want to be different, you have to make a change. And the hardest change is a lot of times with your friends, because let's face it, when you should be out there doing something else to help propel your career, it's very easy to go have margaritas with your friends or something, or go out or whatever. The difference is going to be is in 5-10 years from now, when you have a family or whatever your goal is, and you're living the dream that you've always wanted, they're going to still be having margaritas, dude, hanging out with your friends, because that's all they know. That's all they know. They don't know the greatness that can come beyond, man. And I only say greatness because, dude, I get to donate money to save children now. You know what I mean? I get to save children. I can't go to Haiti and do that stuff on my own. I can't do that. But now, from being in the spot that I am, and through Russell and Operation Underground Railroad, I'm now able to save children. You know, I mean, I've done, like, I didn't say this, but when I was younger, I went to Matamoros, Mexico, and I've done like actual missionary work. When we were there, we built a school and had all these great times. They slaughtered the cow for us as a thank you and all this stuff. And I've done missionary work, but as one person building a school, I can only do so much. Now I could build 10 schools. You know what I mean? It's like that. It's that scalability of giving. You know what I mean? It's like you can only do so much as one person. And now that I'm able to have a little bit of income and able to do something more, I can actually do that with that money, and I can give and I can make a difference, dude. Because like I said before, it's hard to make a difference when you're broke. You know, it really is. I mean, yes, Jesus was broke. There were some broke people done some great things, but as a whole, you know, especially in this society, and that's a great thing, man. Being in the society we are, and in America, these are one of the few countries that you can come from nothing and be something. Like if you're in Africa and you're a goat herder, the chances of you becoming more than a goat herder are probably slim to none. You know, because like they don't have the advantage. But yet here in America, we have. And I took advantage of these. Like, we have services that will help you out. If it gets bad, go to the food bank. Go to these places. It's highly embarrassing, at least for me it was, to go to these places, to ask people for food because you're starving and you have no means to get, you know, food. And I'm not gonna go beg for someone else's hard-earned money on a corner. That's not who I am. You know what I mean? So I took from the government that I paid into through my taxes all these years. And thank goodness when I needed it, the government was there for me, you know, and being a vet and things like that, that also had other things, like I don't have to pay for medical and stuff, which is a blessing. But, you know, it is. And I think that's what people need to realize, that like money's not bad, dude. Money is good. Money will allow you to do many things that you would not be able to do on your own. Like, you know, and I'm talking about like these good things, like sure, traveling, like going to the, you know, Funnel Hacker Live and stuff is great. But like being able to do things beyond that, you know, and being able to just like, I mean, I've always wanted to just be able to, my thing is this, man, check this out. My thing is this. I just want when I'm gone that people were like, that Jeff guy was a good dude and we're sorry that he's dead. I just want people to know that, you know, I did the best I could, and that they were happy that knew me when I was here, and now that I'm gone, it sucks, and he's made a difference. You know what I mean? So that's it. That's all I want. I just want people to know that, like, you know, I'm a good guy. I just want to try and make my mark.
Well, I definitely think it's apparent in, you know, the things that you're saying and you know, the character that you're showing. That I feel like a lot of people are going to say that, and if they are already not. So, you know, Jeff, I want to talk more about the future, right? Because you kind of touched on it with purpose, and talking about, you know, what you wanted other people to think about you. But I want to know, how are you going to make that a reality? You know, what steps do you have in your mind in order to become that person that you're striving towards?
Yeah, one of the major things, like I said, I'm trying to do a course. I'm going to start doing a lot more teaching stuff and providing value on Facebook and stuff like that, just to help sort of build my overall brand. So here's what you're one of the first people to hear about this. What I'm doing is my new persona is going to be the funnel doctor. I'm going to have a lab coat, and it's going to have, you know, the funnel doc. And every time I do a lab, I'm going to do a presentation. It's going to be an experiment. And what's going to happen is, one of the things when you go through the course, you're going to actually I'm going to spend a lot of money on these things, because like one of the things I found is through the different courses, like to be successful, you need like a tribe or a following of people that resonate with your message. You know, Russell has funnel hackers. Kevin's got his ninjas. You know, what I want to do is, you know, I want to have my funnel docs. So what we're going to do is, when you go through my course and finish it, you'll get a real nice certificate that's going to say you get a degree in funnelology. And you're also going to get your own personal lab coat with like your name embroidered, and I'm going to have a cool logo patch that I'm going to have on it. And one of my goals is to try and have between like 30 to 50 funnel docs running around at Funnel Hacker Live next year with their lab coats on. So I'm going to try to do that, and I want to develop a tribe of following of people that like resonate with my message and are all about giving and helping businesses and helping each other grow. So that's one of the things I'm doing as far as like for future for me, you know, besides just growing my actual agency, is sort of developing a brand so that I can have a message that resonates with people on a scalable basis. Because again, like, you know, the money's great too, but beyond that, if I'm able to get my message and have people hear me and they believe and follow what I say, or not say, I don't want to sound like I'm telling people what to do, but, you know, just the message that I give, and I think that, you know, we can make a huge difference, man. And this is the time that people care. You know, like that's the difference between some of the millennials and the younger groups. Like when I was growing up, people just did their job and they're like, just work for the company and earn a check. You know, they didn't really care about it as much. But now people want to know, what's your message? What do you stand for? What are you about? You know, what type of difference are you going to make in the world? Yeah, that's great that you make shoes, but does every third shoe go to help a child somewhere or something? You know what I mean? It's like, and that's what people really care about nowadays. They want to know where their hard-earned dollars are going. And that's one reason why, you know, again, going back to the funnels and the marketing and all that. But I really think that that's one of the great things, is that we're in a time now that people want to make a difference. Like they really care. And I want to be able to take that wave and ride it to help do something, man. You know, like, you know, I think that it's very rare comes a time that like people live to make a difference. And I feel like this is a time that we're just starting on right now, you know?
That's incredible. That's incredible. And I totally agree with you that at the end of the day, I think people want to see what that innermost layer really is. You know, at the end of the day, I don't think we're in the business of insurance or the business of phones. I think we're in the people business. You know, we're working with other people, we're selling to other people, we're helping other people. So at the end of the day, we all have our, you know, our purposes. And like you were saying, you know, that thing that we're trying to accomplish, like I agree with you. I think that's one of the most important things. And, you know, I'm really glad that you brought that up, because I think it's a really important point. So, you know, Jeff, I really do appreciate you coming on to the show today. You know, I think that you have given us a tremendous amount of value and really shared a lot, and I'm very thankful for that. Very thankful to you for that. So, you know, I have one more question for you. Is there anything about yourself that you think is an important part of who you are that I did not ask you about today? In other words, what did I miss?
Wow. I didn't think I'd talk about some of the things I talk about today anyway, but you know, I mean, I've got tons of other stories, but I think we cover the important stuff. You know, the message. You know, make a difference. Care about your people. Realize that your customers are people; they're not just numbers. And that if you go into it with wanting to help them out via your product, you know, realize that that's how you need to look at your products. Like, realize that it's not just a product, that there's something behind it, whether it's a toilet bowl cleaner or a course that's going to help someone sell Amazon. You know, there's a reason why people need it. You know, whether it's to clean out their toilets or leave their 9-to-5 job, there's a reason people need it. So keep that in mind. And if you go with all your marketing with that in mind, how is this going to help someone? How is it going to change their life? Even if it's a toilet bowl cleaner, look at Squatty Potty. Even if it's a Squatty Potty, it's going to make a difference. So you really have to think about that. You really have to think, like, how can this change someone's life? You know, I mean, it's Squatty Potty, dude. That's what I'm just saying. They had rainbow poop. Rainbow poop was how they sold that. It's brilliant. They've changed so many people. I tell people all the time, have you ever heard someone say anything bad about a Squatty Potty? Always good.
I literally have never heard anything bad about it.
Right. Everyone, right? So that's the point. That's what I'm saying. It's like, so this is a product that everyone that needed it needed to get. And if they couldn't figure out a way to make pooping funny that people can understand, because let's face it, pooping is not necessarily the funniest thing or the coolest thing, but they figured out a way to do it, and they've changed millions of people's lives. Now, I know that's a very silly topic or something, but I use it because I want it to seem silly. Because then when something is really important, like the new mechanical heart or whatever it is that you're helping to promote that can really make a difference, imagine the impact. Because if something that helps you poop better can do that, imagine what you could potentially do.
That's a great point. So, Jeff, I do again want to thank you so much for coming on the show and for sharing all that you have. And to everybody who's listening, I want to thank you guys, because y'all are the reason that we do this. And if we can just have a positive impact on you in any way, shape, or form, then, that's worth it to me. So, I highly encourage you guys to go back and really listen to the things that Jeff has been saying. Don't be afraid to watch this a couple times, however many times you need to really get the message. And once you have that epiphany moment, you'll know it. So really dig deep and look for that, right? And when you're ready for it, it'll come. So, again, thank you so much for listening. Jeff, I can't thank you enough, man. Thank you so much. So this has been another Project Egg interview. Today we've been with Jeff Banek from Texas. Have a great day, everybody.